careful and calculated review of government spending by the executive branch in order to determine how to best allocate resources afforded to them by Congress, and just flat out stomping on Medicaid might be excluded. Medicaid is excluded. You don't understand how bad this is. From Maxwell Frost, just confirmed the Trump administration shut down the Medicaid portal for Florida. There are over 3.8 million Floridians on Medicaid. Every Medicaid portal in every state, tens of millions of people can't access Medicaid. It's medical care. This is unprecedented in American history. It's a complete constitutional crisis. In a sane country, this would lead to the immediate impeachment of the presidency. Like I know the Democrats don't have the votes for it, but this is like 5-alarm fire shit. Obviously, they're not going to do that. Trump administration denies it's pausing all federal grants after sweeping memo to government agency. Oh, I'm sure, of course. They're not pausing all grants, There are some specific clauses, Shutting down the Medicaid portals. I swear to God, if the Democrats don't pin this on the Republicans, if the Republicans just go, oh, it was like illegal aliens chewing on wires in the back room or something, I swear to God, man. It's still January. It's still January. This would speed along boomers. Boomers aren't on Medicaid. Boomers are on Medicare. Though there are some provisions where Medicaid influences Medicare spending if you're poor, I think. I wouldn't know. I haven't been old before. I'll get there. Medicare savings programs. Yeah, it's a big bloated bureaucracy. It's very complicated. What's Medicaid? Medicaid is government assistance to poor people for medical expenses. Medicare is for elderly people. They often overlap. The Dems are having a meeting tomorrow. The Dems should be having a meeting right now. What do you mean tomorrow? It's 3 p.m. over there. I'm sorry. Did you guys all take an early dinner? What the do you mean tomorrow? You all work in the same building. They needed a nap. Yeah, given the average age of a Democratic legislator, I suppose. I hate them. It's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. Like, one of the biggest worries for me is that this decision is so unpopular that it makes me worry they don't feel like they have to worry about winning elections in the future. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those things that is so insane and so incompetent and so, like, deliberately obstructive to no end. Like, there's no political win here, okay? Tens of millions of Trump voters are on Medicaid. Trump did say they'd never have to vote again. That's true. Levitt declined to answer questions directly about whether or not Medicaid funding would be affected by the order. Oh, I bet. Can I get that video of the White House press briefing from this morning?
That he was going to lower prices, lower the cost of everything from groceries. As he
The first press briefing.
Story to tell about the legendary American revival that is well underway.
So this is hella illegal, but there's nothing Dems can / will do. But they should be screaming from the rooftop. They should be screaming deafeningly. They should be deafening everyone. Every Democrat on every level. It's unbelievable. AOC had a good tweet. I'm not talking tweets. I'm talking you're in the Capitol building going up to Republican legislators asking them why they think it's okay to take Medicaid away from tens of millions of hardworking low-income Americans. I'm talking about getting every friend they have with a camera. Like, they're very powerful people.
And in keeping with this, Boston will be called the new media seat. To what those may be, and when I have an update, I will share it with you, Mike.
Caroline, you say restore U.S. dominance. Is there a fear that the U.S. either is falling or has fallen?
Encourage anybody 100 days. So President Trump, I think you can all expect for him to continue to work at this breakneck speed. So I hope you're all ready to work very hard.
Where do they talk about it?
We are. Zeke Miller.
Thanks, Caroline. A question that we've asked your predecessors of both parties in this job. When you're up here in this briefing room speaking to the American public, do you view yourself and your role as...
President Trump is looking out for you.
Transcript? Yeah, let me look at the transcript and look up Medicaid. All right, they moved where the transcript button is. Show transcript. Let's see. Here we go.
To homeless veterans, Medicaid provider states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks? And also, is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide the certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps,
What about
welfare
Medicaid?
benefits,
Medicaid?
assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted.
He mentioned Medicaid. What I noticed that he mentioned Medicaid, but you didn't mention Medicaid when you listed the stuff that's not impacted.
By this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. However, it is the responsibility of this president and this administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That is something that President Trump campaigned on. That's why
Medicaid?
he has launched DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, who is working alongside
It's gonna be a long
OMB.
4 years.
And that's why OMB sent out this memo last night, because the president signed an executive order directing OMB to do just this. And the reason for this is to ensure that every penny that is going out the door is not conflicting with the executive orders and actions that this president has taken. So what does this pause mean? It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding.
We do deserve to suffer as a nation. The Green New Deal was never passed, and for like a decade now, they've mentioned it every single day as though it's a thing that actually exists. We do deserve. I think that maybe like religiosity might be our only way through it, because the best cope for this administration is believing that we are spiritually sick and need to suffer. I think that might just be the way through, you know? I'm taking on a whole new perspective, okay? I'm out there feeding like birds in a park. And later that day, if I see like a quarter on the ground, I'll assume God's rewarded me for my good deeds. If I go on, like, take a look at the news and see shit like this, I'll be like, well, I guess in a former life, like I must have really fucked somebody over. You got to round out the edges a little bit.
For transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. No more funding for Green New Deal social engineering policies. Again, people who are receiving individual assistance, you will continue to receive that. And President Trump is looking out for you by
Medicaid?
issuing this pause because he is being good steward of your taxpayer dollars.
Thanks, Caroline.
Sure.
How
Medicaid?
long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke...
Yeah, the Green New Deal. You know, all these other programs, these very real programs that I mentioned, like the Green New Deal. Yeah, apparently she tweeted like 15 minutes ago. The White House is aware of the Medicaid website portal outage. We can confirm no payments have been affected. How exactly then were the portals affected? Just out of curiosity, how were all of these state Medicaid portals affected by a bill that ostensibly doesn't affect that at all? Like, what are you talking about? Total lie. Just a little accident, just a little fucky-wucky.
With the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies. I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years...
It's, again, like immediate impeachment in a sane society. To bring about a freeze of this kind unilaterally with like no congressional oversight. Absolutely insane. It's like it is not the job of the president to determine what the budget is or where the money is spent. Like, past the point.
We've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country. And it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring.
There was no notice.
As you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOGE and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that
Yeah, did
wouldn't
she say 37